Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Exploring the Florida Keys and Key West. I'm Dan McDonald from Baxter Media, and today is Thursday, November 21st. Presenting today is Sabine Chilton, International Sales Rep for the Florida Keys and Key West. Hi, Sabine. How are you today?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. So just before we get into it, I'd like to let all the viewers know that if you have any questions during the webinar, just type those questions into the Q&A box found in your Zoom toolbar or the chat box, and those questions will be answered after the presentation has finished. Also, if you have any problems hearing or seeing the presentation at any time, just type a quick message into the chat box and I'll do my best to assist you. Okay, Sabine, since you're already sharing your screen, you can start whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. Well, good
welcome.
afternoon to all of you, and welcome to the beautiful Florida Keys and Key West. So just thank you for joining me, and like Daniel said, my name is Sabine Chilton, and I'm with the International Sales Manager for the Tourism Office, and I've been working for the Florida Keys for about almost 20 years. So I am delighted to present you the Florida Keys. Some of you probably knows it a little bit, and some other don't. So we're just going to do a general presentation, and we're going to start on our journey. Right there on the cover page, you will see a little bit of the beautiful road who actually linked all the different keys. So it's a beautiful, beautiful drive going down. And just to situating us a little bit in the state of Florida. You will see actually on your screen of Florida. And the Florida Keys are actually at the southern tip of the state of Florida. So we're about an hour drive from Miami International Airport and an hour and a half drive from Fort Lauderdale Airport, which those are pretty much our main two airports to get to the Keys, unless you decide to go straight to Key West, where we have a smaller airport, and we do have some different connection who goes to Key West, but nothing direct from Canada yet. So the Florida Keys and Key West, we actually call the Conch Republic, and this is a little bit more of a detailed map of the Florida Keys. So you will see that there is actually 42 bridges who are going to link all those islands through from Key Largo all the way down to Key West. And the drive from Key Largo to Key West takes approximately about 2.5 hours, and like I mentioned earlier, it's really beautiful. On your left, you will have all the views of the Florida Bay or the Gulf of Mexico, and on your right, depending if you're going up or down, you will see the gorgeous Atlantic Ocean. So the Overseas Highway, which is the name of the road which connect all the islands, I actually received one of the most prestigious awards, and has been designated All-American Road. And there is, in the U.S., there is only 30 roads who have earned that recognition. So it's really quite nice. The way that we direct ourselves in the Florida Keys is by mile marker. So when you're on the top of the Keys in Key Largo, you will be around mile marker 110, and as you go down mile, you will go to mile 0, which is Key West. So it's very easy to locate the attractions you want to go to or the hotel you want to. They will usually let you know, like mile marker 96, and sometimes they'll be even more detailed by putting an O or a B, which will tell you if they're on the ocean side or if they're on the bay side. So you will know if you have to go to the left or to the right. In the Florida Keys, we actually have 5 different districts. So actually it goes, the first one being Key Largo, which is the longest of the island. Then we have Isla Morada. Then we have Marathon, which is in the middle, the heart of the Florida Keys. Then Big Pine Key and the Lower Keys. And to finish, Key West, which is the last island. So we're going to start with Key Largo. So like I mentioned, Key Largo is our first island and the longest one, and it's also known as the dive capital of the world. And as you will see on those different pictures, we have the only living coral reef in North America, which actually runs parallel to the Florida Keys, and it's the closest and the most shallow point in Key Largo. So we have a lot of people coming for diving, but also snorkeling, which is really amazing because the water is very clear and very warm. And you have also the ability to do multiple dives in several areas at one time because it's very, very close to each other. So Key Largo is home of the John Pennekamp State Park, which is the oldest and only underwater state park in the U.S. The Marine Sanctuary, where you will actually be snorkeling or diving, has actually about over 55 variety of coral and also over 500 different species of fish. One of the highlights of John Pennekamp is they will take you diving or snorkeling to see the iconic crest of the abyss status. It's an opportunity to snorkel, and it's really incredible. Now, if you have very young children or if you do not want to get in the water, the park also offers glass bottom boat trips to the reef, so you will be able to actually see the beauty of the reef without getting in the water. The park has also a nice beach for when you return if you want to have a picnic, and you can rent some kayak and paddle boards. Key Largo, from there you can also go to the Everglades National Park, so that's just a short track back if you go by the road, and it's basically a beautiful national park which is home to many of the endangered species like the manatee. We have a lot of American crocodile, we have the Florida panther, and of course you also have all different kind of birds and other animals. So outfitters in Key Largo offer some great eco tours and kayak excursion to go to the Everglades. If not, like I said, if you backtrack a little bit from Key Largo and go to Homestead, which is at the entrance of the Everglades, you can also do some airboat tours. Another attraction, which we're really proud of, is we have actually the original African Queen, which is a boat used in the 1951 movie with Humphrey Bogart and Catherine Hepburn. And what you can do, they take you on a little tour of the canals in Key Largo. So you're basically seating where those actors were actually seating back then. In Key Largo, we also have the Swimming with the Dolphins. We have a lot of different encounter programs, and those also run throughout the Florida Keys. So in Key Largo, we have 3 of them, and which are called Dolphin Cove, Dolphin Plus, and Island Dolphin Care. And in Islamorada, we have the Theater of the Sea. And in Marathon, we have the Dolphin Research Center, as well as a resort called Hawks Cay, which also have a dolphin on property. Moving down, we're going now to the second island, which is Islamorada. So if you're going straight there from Miami Airport, that will take you about an hour and a half, roughly, or an hour, 2 hours top if there is some traffic on the highway. So Islamorada is very famous and very renowned for fishing. So it's actually the sport fishing capital of the world because Islamorada holds the most fishing world records than anywhere else in the world. It also has one of the biggest fleets of offshore charters boat as well as backcountry flatboats. So talking about fishing, because the way that we are located in the Florida Keys between the Atlantic Ocean and the Florida Bay, you can catch a lot of different kind of species of fish, and this is you can do this year-round. So on the Atlantic Ocean, you will catch like sailfish, marlin, mahi-mahi, tuna, snappers, groupers. And if you go in the shallow waters, flats of the Florida Bay, Gulf of Mexico, you will be able to go backcountry fishing and catch some tarpons, bonefish, redfish, permit. When you return from your fishing adventure, most of you captains, what they will do is prepare and fillet the fish for you. And in the Keys, most of the restaurants will actually, or even the hotels, will actually cook your catch. So it's really fun to be able to go fishing all day and then get back and be able to actually eat what you just caught. And they will usually cook it like 3 different ways. So as you travel along the Keys, you will see, like this picture right there, a lot of the restaurants are actually on the water, either same thing on the ocean or on the bay. And in the Upper Keys, same thing. Most of the hotels were basically resort or branded hotel chain or little boutique hotels, bed and breakfast, and we also have some beautiful camping grounds. All those are, most of them, located along the water, so you always have a spectacular view either of the sunset or the sunrise, depending on which side you're in. I mentioned earlier Theater of the Sea, so this is really a really nice little park, which is very natural, and it's basically there you can do the dolphin program, but you also have some sea lion programs. You can also do some stingray programs as well as shark programs, so it's all different kind of things. So if you have a family, or I mean, even if it's just the two of you or so, it's a really fun place to spend the afternoon or the morning. Robbie's Marina, which is a little bit further south, is also a great place. They do have an excellent restaurant right there on the water, and one of their most famous attraction is to feed those giant tarpons, some of them being more than 10 feet long, so it's really, really fun. And you also, a lot of time, you also have the pelicans who actually try to fight with you to get basically all those little fish that you are feeding those tarpons, so it's really, really fun. They also have some boat excursions, some eco tours. Same thing, you can rent some jet skis, some paddle boards, some kayaks, and there is also a lot of local artists, so there is kind of like a little market, so you can actually buy a lot of the different souvenirs were actually made right here, very local. We also have a lot of different beaches throughout the Keys. That's also a question which asked very often. So in all the different islands that we have, there is always a nice little beach. So they're very different. It's not anything like big with, big waves or, anything like that. It's very, very shallow, beautiful, more something that you will see in the Caribbean. So most of the people will take their chairs and their umbrellas, everything, and they will actually put it directly in the water. So same thing when you have young children, you don't have to worry about the danger of them, hurting themselves or drowning or anything like that, because it's very shallow, very, very, very beautiful. So it's relaxing. And like I said, this one is Hands Beach, which is in Isla Morada, but like in Marathon, we also have Sombrero Beach, and we have several in Key West as well, and I will talk about that as we reach those different destinations. So Heart of the Florida Keys is Marathon. So Marathon is home of the 7 Mile Bridge, which is the centerpiece of that beautiful overseas highway drive, and it's also the longest bridge in the Keys. So in kilometers, it would be about 11. For some of you, and like Danielle mentioned earlier, the action movie True Lies, which is a few years old, but it was with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis, was actually filmed on the old bridge. So you might have a chance to see it there. Short distance along the bridge, you will see Pigeon Key, and Pigeon Key is actually a very, very small island, and it at one time it housed about 400 workers who helped construct the Henry Flagler's Overseas Highway in the early 1900s. Because before this was a road, it was actually a railway going from Miami all the way down to Key West. At this time, we are actually refurbishing the old bridge, so which people then will be able to bicycle on or run or also fish. So right now, if you want to visit the Pigeon Key, you can actually take a little ferry, and it leaves several times during the day to tour this landmark. So it's quite a nice experience. In Marathon, we also have different attractions. So one of them is a Dolphin Research Center that I mentioned earlier, but we also have the Turtle Hospital, which is one of the only 2 veterinarian hospitals in the country, and they actually operate on all the endangered species. So they rescue, they save, they try to rehabilitate, and if it's possible, if the turtles get better, they're actually releasing them. So you can have daily tours of the hospital, and if you're lucky to be there the day that they have a surgery, you can actually experience it and see it on first hand. So it's really a great place for all ages. We also have the Aquarium Encounter, which is a marine life facility. You can also there learn and do some diving and snorkeling. They have all different kind of feeding activities, including the sharks, stingrays. They have a lot of touch tanks, so for the children it's wonderful. And they have all kinds of interactive activities. Moving down to the next island, we arrive to Big Pine Key and the Lower Keys. So those are like the most natural of the keys. Basically, we have a state park, a marine sanctuary, and 2 national wildlife refuge. So it's a real paradise for nature. So if you want to do same thing, eco tours or kayaking in the mangroves, all kinds of those very beautiful activities, this is one of the best places to do it. So Big Pine Key is also home of the Bahia Honda State Park. The park was named actually one of the top 10 beaches in the U.S. by Travel and Leisure magazine. From there, you will actually be able to see one of the most iconic views of the old Flagler Railway Bridge. There is still a piece of the railroad which stays right there. So it's same thing, nice. People go spend the day, picnic, and same thing, you can rent boats and paddle boards and kayaks and all kinds of different things. Big Pine is also home of the Great White Heron National Refuge and the National Key Deer Refuge. So those little deers are actually only exist in this part of the Florida Keys. You won't find them anywhere else in the world. So they're very protective, they're beautiful, and you can actually go to the refuge and be able to see them firsthand. And last but not least, Key West, which is basically one of the most famous of the different islands of the Florida Keys. You're actually located closer to Cuba than you are from Miami. It's only 135 kilometers from Key West. So if you if you're like somewhere in the U.S. and that you don't have to always, before it used to be only have like flight from inside Florida, so from Miami or Fort Lauderdale or so, but now we also have some direct flight to Key West from other locations such as Dallas, Charlotte, Atlanta, Chicago, New York. In season sometime we also, I know that right now they're working on a Boston flight as well. Key West is actually a very small island. It's only 3 kilometers by 6 kilometers, so it's a very easy to get to it. A lot of people don't even use their car. If they come by car, they just leave it at the hotel, and a lot of visitors just walk, or you can rent bicycles, you can rent scooters, and also we have those really funny, cute little electric cars to go around the island. So you can do as much as you want in Key West, or you can do as little as you want in Key West. It's a destination by itself. So one of the most famous places in Key West is the southernmost point of the continental U.S. So it's only, like I said, 135 kilometers from Cuba. So most everybody comes down there and take their pictures. Usually they use them a lot for their Christmas cards or so. And you're basically as far as you can get into the continental U.S. We offer a lot of different guided tours, so you can do it with a little conch train, you can do it with a trolley. We also have bike tours, and we also can do tour of the island with jet skis, which is really, really fun as well. Key West is also known for culture and history. One of our most famous residents was Ernest Hemingway, and his home and studio are open for tours daily. So right now, when you go visit, it's a self-guided tour, and you can also still see some of his residents, which are those little cats who have actually 6 toes instead of 5, and they were there when Hemingway lived there, and since then they're still there. So, like I said, all the tours are self-guided, and they have different transcripts. So they will have some French transcripts as well. We also have different other museums, like the Shipwreck Museum or the Custom House, or you can go up to the Lighthouse. We have also the Mel Fisher Museum, where you will see a beautiful collection of all the artifacts from the sunken ships from the 17th century. Water sports is really big. Same thing in Key West as much as all over the Keys as well. And another excursion that we recommend quite a bit is actually taking a tour to the Dry Tortugas National Park at Fort Jefferson. So for that, you will have to take either the ferry or the seaplane. And the fort is actually located about 90 kilometers, west of Key West. So if you decide to take the ferry, which is usually the most common way of going to the island, it's a full-day excursion. So you will leave Key West about 8 o'clock in the morning. It takes about 2 hours to get there. And when you get there, you will get to visit the historic Civil War fort with a park ranger. You will also, that will give you all your snorkeling gear to be able to snorkel all the way around the fort, because it's the same thing, beautiful. You've got some corals and gorgeous, a lot of fish, and it's not very deep, so it's very safe and very fun. And the water, like I said, is breathtaking. And they will also bring you at lunch sandwiches and drinks, and then they will take you back to Key West to get you there about, they'll pick you up about 3 to get you there about 5 p.m., just right on time for the sunset celebration. The sun is a really, really important of our lives. So basically, we have a big celebration every night on Mallory Square, which is right downtown Key West in the historic seaport. And the fun thing about it, you will see a lot of musicians and street performers, and everybody meets on the pier. And we also have there is some drinks and some food. There is also a little market if you want to buy some local arts and things like that. So it's a really, really big party. What also people do is actually go on the sunset cruise, so it's another way of be able to see the gorgeous sunset every night and enjoy the beauty of it. So you have different options. Key West is also very famous for all their restaurants. There is all different kinds of possibilities. You can actually have some nice, quiet dinner on in a Victorian mansion. You can decide to go to live music bars like Sloppy Joe's, which is where Ernest Hemingway used to hang out. We also have dance clubs. We have cabaret singers. There is a little bit for everything and for everybody. And, of course, the Florida Keys is really as an exquisite cuisine because, once again, we have all the beautiful, we have all the fish and the seafood. Everything is pretty much harvested right here in our local water. So from the Key West pink shrimp to the spiny lobsters, both of them, have like really excellent taste. They're usually accommodated either, like cold or hot, with butter or steamed or a different kind of way to cook it. We also have a lot of fresh fish like the yellowtail, the snapper. I mean, my favorite is the hogfish. You have grouper, mahi-mahi, tuna. So all of those same things are prepared all different kind of ways. So if you're really into fish and seafood, this is the place to be. Talking about seafood, there's a little story about the stone crabs, because I'm not quite sure that maybe you're not aware of this, but we are very eco-friendly here in the Keys, and same thing, we're big on sustainability. So basically, when we harvest the stone crab, we actually get them out of the water, and we remove one of the claw, just one. So we leave the other one on, and then we release the crab back in the wild, and the claw actually regenerate and will grow for the next year. So it's basically always, the crabs. And like I said, we do leave one claw on so they can, feed themselves and defend themselves if needed. And then the other claw will be actually growing back throughout the year. And we also have a season for the snow crabs, which runs from October 15 to May 15. So we're right in the middle of it right now. And you cannot leave a restaurant or the Florida Keys without trying one of our slice of our famous key lime pie. Some of the key lime pies, they're made completely different in all the different restaurants. Some of them are topped with meringue, some other with whipped cream, other are made with a graham crust, other with like a chocolate crust. So there is all different kind of option. And if you're on the run, we also have key lime pie on the stick, which is basically frozen with dark chocolate surrounded it. So it's really, really delicious. In Florida Keys, we do a lot of events. There is a lot of festivals throughout the year. We have some very, very famous, like the Hemingway Days in Key West, which are in July, and the Lower Keys Underwater Music Festival, which is actually in June. The most famous one of all is actually Fantasy Fest, which is the last week of October, and that's basically kind of like our Mardi Gras like you would see in New Orleans. So everything goes. It's a full week of fun, of parade, so definitely a really nice time to come and visit the Keys. So touching a little bit about the sustainability and the protection of the environment, we also have a lot of different programs, and some of them are called volunteerism, where we have some of our visitors who actually are coming to the Keys and help the destination with all different kind of program. One of them is coral restoration. So we actually have underwater coral farm, where if you're a diver, you can actually take place in those programs and help out plant coral and do all different kind of activities. We also have, like I mentioned, at the Turtle Hospital, we actually do release the turtle when they're not in danger anymore, so you can also do this as well. And other programs like mammal rehabilitations or so, we also have like cleaning of the beaches, or same thing when it's the season for the turtle to lay their eggs, protections of the beaches as well. So there is quite a bit. If you want to learn more about the Florida Keys, we also have an e-learning program, which is the link is right there on the screen. So it's actually a great program. It's made mostly out of video. It doesn't take very long. And when you go through the program, you will be able to become a Florida Keys specialist, and you will have access to all different kind of suggested itineraries of different lands for a few days or up to for a week, and for all kinds of different visitors. So it could be for families, for honeymooners, for adventure seekers, or for all different kinds of visitors. For if we do have a few French people online today, we also have a French website, which is the fla-keys.fr, and same thing, you can do as well the e-learning program, and there you will see the link for it. The first link that you see, that's also an image library. So it's if you want to use some of our images to put on your website, on your catalogs, or anything, you're very welcome to do so. All those images are there for you to download. So I hope this was able to help you discover a little bit more about the Florida Keys. Our general website is fla-keys.com. We also have an 800 number if you have any specific questions. And I'm also giving you my direct email as well as my direct phone number. If you have any specific questions for your client and you're not quite sure which hotel you should recommend, or attractions or itinerary or anything like that, I'll be delighted to help you either in French or English.
Thank you very much, Sabine.
Well, you're very welcome.
So, of course, for anyone that has any questions that you'd like to submit, there are two ways you can do so. There's the Q&A box found in the Zoom toolbar, and there's the chat box, which can also be accessed through the black Zoom toolbar. So feel free to submit any questions that you may have. And there is one already from Jillian. Jillian asks, would you be able to provide a price map for excursions and things within the Keys?
Price for attractions, usually you will have to go straight to the attractions, because sometimes they do run some specials. Like right now, I think they have like buy one, get one, get one free and things like that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
As a tourism office, we don't quote any prices. neither for hotels or attractions. So that's something who will have to be done straight with the attraction. So if you let me know which attraction you're interested with, I'll be happy to give you their either a direct contact person or the website where you can find all their information. Because like I said, they don't have one set price throughout the year.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Sabine. Oh, and Jillian also asks, would you be able to, where can I find a complete list of attractions?
On our website, if you go on fla-keys.com, all the attraction there by island, so from Key Largo, Isla Morada, Marathon, Big Pine, and Key West, you have all the attractions.
Oh, perfect. So that's fla-keys.com.
keys.com, yep. It's like I have it right there on the last screen. It's still there.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Jillian says thanks. And the next question is from Miles. Hi, Miles. How are you? Miles asks, why is the Florida Keys called the Conch Republic?
Because back then we had a kind of a little bit of a secession. It's at the entrance of the Keys. The American government actually decided to charge like special taxes and things like that to come to the Florida Keys. So the Florida Keys decided, she's like, well, that's fine, then we're not going to be part of the United States anymore, and we're going to become the Conch Republic. So it's basically a complete different country. Of course, it barely lasted 24 hours, but so we're still actually, we still use it as a conch republic. Plus, back then, we used to have a lot of conch, which was you could eat them. Now they're protected, so the only way you can, you eat the conch, most of them are coming from the Bahamas nowadays. But back then, we used to have a lot of conch, and people used to just harvest them, and same thing, we'd make conch fritters and, ceviche, all kinds of things. So they just decided to use the word conch, and then they make it a republic because they were upset with the U.S. government. So they seized for about 24 hours until all those taxes and drop point was actually removed from the entrance of the Keys.
Huh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's really fun.
And let's see. Kevin says, thank you for the presentation. Very informative, and can't wait to go myself in March.
Wonderful. That's the best way. I mean, like I said, today we're about 28 degrees right now, full sun. So March, same thing. It's our temperature are really, really nice. So you'll be able to enjoy the sun and the warmth and swim and do all kinds of things.
Huh. Excellent. Yeah. Sounds good, Kevin. I'm sure you'll have a fantastic time. The next question is, are the bridges for the Keys toll bridges?
No, there is absolutely no tolls in the Florida Keys. All the tolls that you will encounter will be actually in Miami on the Turnpike, but nothing in the Keys, no tolls.
I thought so, but yeah, thanks so much for confirming. That's great. Barbara says, I have a client trying to decide between the southernmost beach resort and the Pier House Resort. The Pier House Resort and Spa on Key West. Which would you recommend between those two?
Well, both properties are beautiful. It's really nice to stay in either or. The thing is, depending on where they want to be. If they stay in the Pier House, they will be right there downtown, so basically walking distance from Mallory Square and from all the different activities and restaurants and bars and everything. If they're staying in the southernmost, they're still in the main part of Key West, but they're about 2 miles, so about 3 kilometers out. So if they want to be more on the quiet part and enjoy actually the beach versus being downtown, then they can stay at the Southern Beach Resort. So that's going to be depending on their preference. If they want to be on the water and a little bit, further from the center, or if they want to be right there in the action.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that sounds like it would for sure come down to personal preference.
Yep, exactly. And both resorts are beautiful. So that's just a personal, like you said, preference.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Thank you. So none other questions have come in yet, but we'll of course allow a few more minutes because some people.
Yeah. No. Of course.
And once again, you guys, you can submit questions to either the chat box or the Q&A box.
Right. And I definitely encourage them to do the e-learning program either in English or French. I mean, it's really well because it's very visual, so they'll be able to see all those videos and see really what the keys look like.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, and then that's great for our Quebec viewers as well.
Yep. We give it either in English right there or in French right there.
Wonderful. That's great. Deborah says, beautiful presentation. I miss it. The deep sea fishing is amazing. The captains are always great. Thank you. Thanks, Deborah. What a great comment. And I wanted to mention to everyone, too, that if you happen to sign in a few minutes late, even like 10 minutes late, a recording of this webinar will be made available on the Baxter Media YouTube channel tomorrow. So by tomorrow, the 22nd, a full recording of this will be live on YouTube. And, of course, our YouTube channel is just the one with the blue and white logo when you search for Baxter Media. Okay, we'll give it another minute or two for people to type their questions. And if not, we'll wrap up.
And like I said, they have my number. They have my direct email address. So any question that they have from their clients, I'll be happy to, just email me, and I'll be happy to help you with any questions or anything that they might need.
Great. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Okay, so I think we'll wrap it up. But of course, if you guys, if questions occur to you later on, you can always reach out to Sabine or to myself. My personal email is dmcdonald@baxter.net. But I would like to thank all of you for attending the webinar today. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your day to watch Sabine's presentation. And Sabine, thank you so much for presenting for us. It was wonderful.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you to all of you. Same thing, to spend a little bit of time with me in the Florida Keys, and I hope that we'll see you there very soon. Definitely. Yeah, and thanks so much for showcasing a place that I'd definitely like to go back to one day soon. Good. Yes. Please come and see us. And in the meantime, have a wonderful holiday season. Oh, you as well. Thank you. Take care, Sabine. Hope you have a great day. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care.